See if that works. Hello. There we go. Can I hear you? You broke weed. You broke weed? No, I didn't break any weed. Time out. Oh, no volume though. Like, oh, because I have to let you talk. I have to let you talk. I didn't break anything though. And there was no breaking. I didn't break anything. Let me see here. I gotta mute everybody else.
Hey.
Whoa, I just said, I muted you. Okay, hold on. Ask to unmute. Ask to unmute. There we go. There we go.
Hey, it's me.
Yay, Mario. Let me get you everybody else in here. Everybody else, I need you to mute your mics and keep them muted for me, please. Sweet. Well, okay, I just gotta tell you, I'm stoked. Like, I'm totally stoked right now. I don't know if we can share. Am I like, can you see me?
Yes, you're beautiful.
Okay, perfect. I'm letting everybody else in. Hopefully, I may have to mute everybody again, but hopefully it stays muted. Okay, can I just say I'm so excited to be doing this because we talked about this a long time ago and you were like, you know what you need? You need to be able to talk about what you want to talk about. And I'm like, boy, that sounds so good because I do take on a lot of conversations or do a lot of pieces on healing modalities and all the stuff that I do as a psychic medium. So it was really exciting. I'm seriously excited. Sorry, guys, I'm having to admit people. Because I finally get to talk about something, one of the many things that I've been wanting to talk about. And of course, Kinsey is here to hang out with me and talk about stuff that we want to talk about. And not that the other stuff isn't stuff I enjoy, but this is me laid back, getting to chat about something that freaks me the hell out. And I thought it would be fun to look at different urban legends or things that I don't know that you and I like to talk about, which is the real deep dive into the woo-woo, be it, as you say so beautifully, the goober goblins and such.
Yes, let's get weird.
And we get to do it. And so I was like,
yes,
like we get to talk about the things that other things that I want to talk about. So I wanted to start off, if you don't mind, me doing my ramble on what we have coming up in the tribe, if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
We have a bunch of stuff coming up in the tribe in November. If you guys don't already know, if you're not already hooked up, we are doing a bunch of classes. I have What's Your Gift? Chakra Healings. That's a new class. Learn how to heal your chakras and with your chakras and help other people do the same. Meeting and working with your guides. That's a difficult one, but a fun one. We also have automatic writing and drawing that I'm going to be teaching because I do a lot of automatic drawing, not so much writing, but I can teach you how to do it. And then psychometry, which is big one that I use. A lot of people have seen me use on different television shows. Using psychometry is a lot of fun. That, of course, is reading energy off of objects. So if you've ever wanted to learn those type of things, you want to sign up before November because we're going to get started. It's going to be awesome. I also thought that we might take a minute and discuss maybe some protection stuff, because after I wrote down my notes, I was like, I think now it's a good idea to talk about how to protect yourself. Yeah. Seriously though, what are some things that you use to protect yourself when you're in a situation, when you're in a holy shit situation, right? So like you saw something and you're like, what the fuck was that, right? You have that knee-jerk reaction. What do you use? What do you do?
I use my big girl tears. No, I'm just kidding. For me, I like the Archangel Michael Golden Dome of Protection. Like that's kind of like, he's kind of like a patron of one of my guides that I use. And so it's a visualization of just a golden dome, and Michael and his legion will keep me safe. I don't know that I'm smart enough to remember to do these things in the oh shit moment. I think I get really excited, and I think that I'm like super in the moment. And so for me, it's kind of like it's aftercare, right? Like it's after everything is over, and trying to bring back in my mental protections, my spiritual protections, things like that.
Hey guys, if we have a live mic, if you could kill it for me, please. So make sure all your mics are off so that we can hear each other pretty easily. Funny thing is I'm the same way. So I'm the exact same way. It's not like all of a sudden something scares me and then I'm like, enlighten love only. Like, it's not like, it's definitely after I've experienced it, I'm halfway through, and then I might go, whoa, wait a second, you're not protected right now. There's nothing going on. And the only reason that I bring up protection is because of one of the things, the thing we're going to be talking about. So the thing that we're going to be chatting about this evening is definitely a time where I'm going to straight up, if this ever happens to me, throw some serious protection. But I did want to talk about some crystals and stones that you might want to use in case of needing to feel protected. One of the stones is amethyst, one of my favorites, as you can tell behind me. I'm a collector of amethyst. It's a deep purple quartz crystal. It's gorgeous. It's great for using protection against spirits. I also have smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is another great one. Do you use any, Kens? Do you have any that you?
Yes, sorry, I was texting somebody in the chat to mute their microphone.
Oh, thank you.
So I like black tourmaline. I'm a big black tourmaline fan.
Bum, bum.
Yes. Hematite, that's the metallic-y one, right?
Yeah.
The metallic-y. You guys have to forgive me, I have brain fog. So magnet.
Yes.
Hematite can be magnetized. That's the one I like. I also am really kind of digging red tiger's eye right now.
Really?
Yes. I'm leaning into that, especially when in motion, like as far as like driving and being in cars and things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So there's protection for you. Also, I use a lot of essential oils. I purchase things or I'm gifted things to help cut cords, protect myself in a situation. Just do one of these, you know, and I'm in it to win it. Don't get it in your eyes. Jesus, why did I just do that? And or essential oils. You can use essential oils, other essential oils for protection. So
I think it's important to realize that different things are going to make different people feel comfortable. And in the paranormal, in my opinion, the biggest form of protection that you can have is remembering that you are going to find the energy that you're looking for. So if you're going into every investigation and you're like, it's going to be demons, I know it's demons. I say that because you know how much that annoys me, but it's fine. Things are scary. You're going to find demons, right? Like, so it's like we live in a law of attraction universe. You are going to manifest and find that vibration that you are in sync with. So, you know, I think that's why I don't do a whole lot of protection beforehand, because I feel like I'm going into these situations looking for answers. Like, I want truth, and I don't necessarily think everything is out to eat me.
No, I'm the same exact way. I tell people all the time that, you know, I don't go in grabbing crystals. I don't go in spraying essential oils. I don't go in like that because I think it's quite rude actually to assume that everything that I'm going to go speak to as a paranormal investigator is going to be negative energy, that it's the bad shit. So I'm throwing stones, I'm throwing essential oils, and I'm basically assuming that the energy in this area, because of something I was once told or something someone else experienced, it's bad. So I go in, like you said, ready to experience bad, throwing all kinds of things at this spirit or what have you, an interdimensional being, whatever, assuming that it's negative. I'm the same exact way. A lot of people say, you know, you should protect yourself. You should protect yourself. I'm not saying don't protect yourself, but also I'm never going to assume. Lindsay said in the chat, I agree. I agree completely. I never assume. There's no reason to assume, right? But
It's
also,
like people, right?
yeah,
Somebody could tell you that I'm the biggest bitch in the whole entire world, and while they would probably be right, you
dude,
also love me, and so you don't see me in that way.
no
And so
way.
it's like you know, look at how you're coming at people. Look at, you know, you're gonna get. I feel like we mirror energy back and forth to each other, and we kind of, you know, it's that whole frequency of like, where are you vibrating at? Like if
Yeah,
you're vibrating at a low frequency, and you're in a house that has a lot of access beyond the veil through paranormal activity, are you pulling through entities that are vibrating down there at a low frequency? Somebody loses a loved one, they're going to be in a state of grief, they're going to be vibrating at a really low frequency. They have an experience with the paranormal. That experience is going to look and can manifest as something that's scary or really low vibrational, when really you're just experiencing phenomenon,
yeah.
and it's neither
And
good nor bad.
no, I completely agree with you. And the other thing about that is our power of intention is the most powerful thing. So our vibration, what we're speaking, what we're calling in is what will meet us. Like, just, I think that's exactly, that is truth. So that said, I don't know exactly why I chose Black-Eyed Children. Like, I'm being for real. Like, I don't know what it was in me. Because I want to just preface this. The most scary movie to me is Children of the Corn. So the scariest movie for me, dude, for real, was Children of the Corn. The
Which
idea,
one? They made like 12 of them. So like,
let's go with number one.
we'll
Let's
go
go
with the original
with,
one. Okay.
okay.
Just checking.
And I remember being a kid going, wait, what? Like, I remember that sensation of, wait, kids are bad and they're evil. And it was so, it's giving me chills talking about it. I have trauma on this shit. It was the scariest. And there were so many scary movies coming out around that time. There was a real push in the late 80s, early 90s for really scary movies. And I'm going to tell you, that's the one that did it for me. So it's interesting that I even chose, let's talk about Black-Eyed Children and the idea of where it comes from and how these type of stories keep getting told.
Right.
They call them, what do they call them?
Urban legends.
Urban legends. It's interesting to me, because if we were from somewhere else, we would just be sharing stories of the past. But for us in the United States, it's urban legends, whatever. But for me, I think it's interesting why I chose it. I was just in England, and what I learned, and how I'll preface this, is that here in the United States, it's popular. You know, you've heard about it. It floats around. People talk about it, right? In England, it's for real, dude. Like,
Really?
it's constantly in the news. They're constantly putting things in the tabloids. It's out there all of the time. There's many, 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 many stories of the Black-Eyed Children all the time in the news and out there yeah.
That's
So isn't that
wild.
interesting?
No, it's super cool, actually. And fun fact about me, like one of my all-time favorite dream jobs would be to be a writer for like one of the British tabloids. Like, I think that that would just be the coolest thing in the world, is to just kind of like investigate the paranormal and slide it into all of the tabloids. Like, it's not real, but it's actually real. But
Yeah.
no, I didn't know that it was so popular over there, because when I was doing research for this topic, I kind of thought it was like a Slender Man thing, right? Like some kids made it up. Maybe there's some tulpa activity happening. For those of you that don't know, tulpas are paranormal entities that are created because people made up a story about them, and then enough energy had been fed into it for it to kind of break into its own consciousness, its own sort of entity. So like when I was doing the research, I'm like, it's fake, right? Like it's just like an urban legend, like, and apparently like there's a lot of people out there that have been really traumatized by these entities, and they don't want to talk about it. Like they'll talk about it, but they don't want their name associated with it. They want to be kept strictly anonymous, because they're like, I live in this community, my neighbors are going to think I'm crazy. And overwhelmingly it seems to be the thing that is the common thread throughout all of the experiences that I read doing research for this, is the fear. And like, it's so funny when we talk, because we are always kind of like in these on similar wavelengths, because fear is kind of a big topic that I'm dealing with right now, personally. And it's in how it can affect your physical body and how it can affect your health and how it can affect, your outlook on things. And so with this black-eyed kids thing, it's the fear. Like these people that have survived these experiences are traumatized
Yep. They
for the
either
rest
have
of their life.
nightmares, or they will literally become agoraphobic. They won't leave their homes. Like some of those are the experiences they have. They're so scared to go outside and see these kids again, or experience them through the peephole, or not feeling safe. But let's explain what black-eyed children are. What is the phenomenon? And yes, it is much like the Mothman and Slender Man. In some, depending who you talk to. So I'm going to say yes. And then I'm also going to say to Karen, thank you. Karen is from the UK, and she says the black-eyed kids are indeed all over the UK. Now, what are the black-eyed children?
Oh, is that for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So black-eyed kids are people are experiencing are experiencing children within the ages of around 8 to 16, and they either they're alone. Usually, they come to your house and they knock on the door. This is the classic, right? They come to your house, they knock on the door, and they ask you to come in, and it's usually late at night, and they're usually like not looking directly at you, kind of looking at the ground.
Some cover their eyes. Some will cover their eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some cover their eyes, and the way they speak, their cadence is really weird. Some people have said that they look like they're in older, handmade, almost Amish clothes. Other people have said that they wear jeans and a hoodie, but that the clothes are always ill-fitting. It's always a little bit too big. Their skin can be either really pale or olive complected, but like a sickly olive complected.
Yes.
And then the one thing, obviously black-eyed kids, is that their entire eye, like the sclera and the pupil and the iris, is all black. It's like a black, shiny, I want to say it's like carapace of like a bug or something, where it's just like,
oh, why don't you throw that at it too? Yeah. Oh,
like
Jesus.
a crocodile eye, right? Like, aren't crocodile
that's how
eyes
I
like
see
that?
it. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Why you got alligator eyes, my friend?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, and then a lot of them will cover their eyes. And sometimes, and we're going to talk about some stories that I have here. We'll talk about some of the experiences and where the first story came from. So where we think this first story came from. But yeah, they will either cover their eyes, or the hoodie is kind of down, and until they look straight at you, you can't see that they don't have any color whatsoever. They're completely black-eyed. Again, I love how you put that. It's their cadence was off. It's almost like some of them explain that it sounds robotic. Like it's very robotic. And it sounds like they've practiced it. So almost like someone practiced a saying and said, practice it over and over again. And then they got up in front of the classroom and gave their speech. It's very robotic. And people are catching the shit on their rings, the cameras for outside the door to make sure your Amazon package came. A lot of people are starting to catch the black-eyed children on those ring cameras, whatever they're called.
See, that's interesting. I'd like to see some of that stuff, because a lot of the stuff that I was looking at too, I was just really interested because I thought it was an urban legend.
Right.
I wanted to look at, in the 90s, there was the guy that kind of put it up on the internet the first time. I think his name was Brian, right? Give me 2 seconds. Brian Bethel.
Yes. Mr. Bethel.
Brian Bethel is
1998. Yep.
And so I was kind of looking at where he was at. But the other thing I don't want to leave out is there's an element of people feel like almost hypnosis or mind control, where they're so they're asking you to just open the door and let us in. That's a big thing too that we have to put. every single time they're asking for a favor. So it's either let me in, which is
Can I get a ride home?
Is the number one thing. If they're in a car, it's can I get a ride home? Or I have to go get something. Can you take me to go get something? And then the other thing that they said that's really weird that happens in a lot of these things is them trying to reassure the adult in the situation and say like, it's okay, it's not going to take long. And you're
Yes.
just like, I'm sorry, what? Like,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
not going to take long?
Yep.
And so it's this huge
It
fear.
won't take long. What won't take long? That's some scary shit. Like,
What are
just
we
let me
doing?
in.
Yeah,
It won't take
exactly.
long.
So like you get this kid and it sounds like they have this rehearsed speech. They don't respond to questions. Like if you're asking them other questions like where's your parents at or where do you live? Where are you from? It's like they have a script.
Yeah.
Like, and so yeah, it's funny because it reminds me like back then after high school, before college, I was selling perfume in parking lots and they would give you a script of what you were allowed to say when you would go up to people or their houses. And like you were only allowed to answer questions like in the set of the script, right? Like you couldn't go off script. So it's
Wow.
like where are they coming from? What's the objective? Like why do they want to be in your house? Like to me, it feels like little baby vampires, right? Like they want to come in, like they can't come into your house unless you give them permission.
There is one other thing that needs permission, and that's a demon. So I'm going to throw that out there. And the other that needs permission to enter is a demon. So
I feel like
I hate to do it, bro. I hate to do it, bro.
I feel like Pee Wee Herman, where it's like the word of the day, and every time you say demon, I want to go ah. I like have everything like shake around and stuff. Like it's not a demon. I'm just kidding. It could be a demon. Fine, it could be a demon.
Brandon also says that they also come when people are trying to summon things. So if you are, and it's interesting you say that because a lot of my research, it came back to people that are in the field of paranormal that see these or experience some of these are paranormal, I guess, witnesses, if you will, that are been in the field is what I've caught. Someone asked, are these spirits of kids? We're going to talk about that in a minute. I can promise you we'll get there. Yes, Lindsay was just saying that it reminds them of vampires. Karen,
high five, Lindsay.
Kids over here seem to be the way to get a person to let their guard down. They follow them or follow them to let them in. The reason why their eyes are black is that the eyes are the window to the soul and are extremely hard to mimic. That's true, but they also suggest if this is an urban legend, that the reason the eyes are black is to scare the shit out of you. So the reason the story was written the way it was.
This checks out, yeah.
Yeah.
The black guys are scary.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about Mr. Bethel himself, because in 1998, he was out in a parking lot in front of a movie theater at a mall or something like that, where two children walked up to his car, knocked on his car window, said, hey, we want to go to the Mortal Kombat movie. Will you apparently
get over here?
Will you please give me a ride home to my parents? We need to pick up money. He responded, the movie already started. So we wouldn't make it back in time. And that's when the kids became more aggressive and started saying things like, we can't come in unless you let us. So of course, just like I would do, Mr. Bethel was out like sauerkraut. He was gone. He drove away. It was interesting because once the story leaked and was all over the internet, and if you will, he was quoted in 2013 saying, I had experience myself. This is what happened, and shared more, but said, they do suggest that they don't have any proof that he talked about it in 98. They do have proof that he quoted it in 2013. So for those of you that want to know, they are suggesting this is where the urban legend began. It began off of this story. Which is weird because I've heard it more like knocking on the door, let us in. Will you please let us in? There are some pretty crazy videos out there on YouTube, if you so believe, to check out. But so again, it's much bigger in England. So there was a story that came out of Camp Chase, which is a place in England, where there was a little girl who was screaming. She was screaming bloody murder in this area. She had her hands over her eyes. This mother was with her child. So of course she's looking for this little girl screaming. She goes running over to this little girl who has her hands over her eyes, says, "Are you okay?" The little girl removed her hands from her eyes. She had completely black eyes and went running off. So these children, again, don't speak like they want to have a conversation with you. They have bullet points. Like Kenzie was saying, it's more of like, this is my script. This is what I'm allowed to say.
Well,
Now,
it's interesting that you bring up the screaming, because I was reading, so I was reading David Weatherly's Black Eyed Children book. I don't know if you guys can see this. If I hold it like this, I can put, yeah, it's gone. I'm on the moon. So, you know, like my reception's not super great right now. Anyway, so anyways, he had found a story of Virginia, right? In the 50s, where a 16-year-old boy, I think his name is Harold, was walking home to his house, had an experience with like an 8-year-old boy. They live out in the country. Like there's no reason why he should have been there. He's trying to talk to the kid, and all of the kids said, "I want to come home and go into your house." And that's when like the feeling happened, where it's just dread. And like they talk about like the idea in all of the experiencers have very similar stories, in that I was so scared that my fight or flight reflex had been awakened, but my logical mind was trying to tell me, or there was a voice in my head that was trying to tell me, no, it's okay, it's just a kid, like what are you? And so there's this sense of fighting with yourself, where it's like you're trying to say, hey, like, but your body's like, get the hell out of here, like it's time, we got to go. And like your brain's like, no, like let's just take this little kid home, which is what I would do, because I'm an idiot. Like I'd be like, no, come on kid, like let's go figure it out together, ha ha ha. And then you never hear from, if you don't hear from me again, that's probably what happened. But but in this story they were talking about there being sort of like like Brandon saying that they work on function on the spectrum of infrasound. They were saying that there's like an infrasound aspect that could potentially work for the hypnosis or for making you super uncomfortable in your body, but that there's also in Harold's case almost a sense of mind control, because he was going between the kid and the house and trying to think about like running away, and the kid was like, don't run, you're never going to make it, or something crazy like that. And then he just booked it and took off. But as he's running, he hears the scream. And in Virginia, they've got bobcats and stuff. So, and I know like mountain lions around here in California can sound like a woman or a child screaming when the cat yells or whatever. But it was in the book, it was one of the unique features was the screaming. And so now, if in your case you said Camp Chase in England, they also had the scream. Did you hear it? Did you get any of the stories? Because I didn't get a whole lot of the England stories. Were there any about like bad smells?
Nope, this had nothing to do with bad smells. It was just it was also, this child was seen, and I think this is important to bring up, that this child was seen where 3 kids in the 1960s were murdered. And so 3 children around the age of this child were murdered, and it took out to be the biggest police chase in the area to date to find this man who murdered the 3 kids. So the paranormal investigator that was talking about this was saying, for me, it could be a ghost of one of those children. And damn if that ain't how you could get to a paranormal investigator. Damn if we would not open up to it and be like, tell us more, tell me more.
Their story has to be heard. We have to tell it.
That's right. That's it. So that's a good way to get into my brain. So go ahead and scream. I'm going to be like, quit screaming. Or
you want to scream? I'll give you something to scream about.
But
fast forward to like all of my insides on the outside. It's fine.
Right. Exactly. So like, it was incredible. So it happened And he had said that the woman who saw the child 30 years earlier, his aunt actually saw the same child a little bit younger, that same thing, did the same thing and did the scream. Now that brings me to something else, to some of you that know about the sirens, those that call us to our death, those that scream, those that let us know about those who are crossing. That's interesting to me too. So I, of course, go, why? So my first thing is, okay, why is the kid screaming? Now I want to know what this kid is.
Logical question. Yeah.
Right. I want to know what this kid is. So is this kid a ghost? The eyes, is this kid an alien? Not gonna lie, I also thought, well, this is kind of alienistic. The eye is very alien-like. I don't know.
That was my research, was that they were suggesting that it was hybrids.
Really?
Yeah, so they were saying that what's happening is that with people that are experiencers, aka people that have been abducted by aliens, a lot of what they talk about is having their sperm or eggs extracted.
Right.
And so they had a couple of experiencers that said they had also had experiences with the black-eyed children. And what had happened is, it was it's not uncommon for somebody who's been abducted to be re-abducted, right?
Right.
So this one lady, she'd been abducted a couple of times. She had her eggs taken, and then like, I think it was like 3 years later, she was abducted again, and she was shown an infant, like a 3-year-old infant that looked like a child, like a human child, but had the black eyes. And she said she knew that was her baby. And they had a couple of experiencers that had that similar sort of feeling or whatever. And
That's
so that
amazing.
led them down, to the idea of like, well, why would aliens be like crossbreeding or whatever? Like, you know what I mean? And so what I was thinking was like, if they're trying to take over, or if they're trying to come here because their world is falling apart, or for whatever reason, maybe they have to breed with humans in order to be able to live in this atmosphere better. You know what I mean? Like if they need to acute or acclimate to our environment by crossbreeding, or somebody, so another theory was like to breed us out, basically, like they're breeding us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
But
interesting. So I'm going to throw a question out to everybody out there that's listening. Do you think that the black-eyed children are sirens? Do you think that they are maybe alien? Do you think they are a urban legend? It's okay if you just think it's an urban legend. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Okay, so Karen says that
Yeah.
and this, Karen, I'm jumping on this because this is kind of where I feel like I am the strongest with you on this, is that the black-eyed kids around the UK sometimes date back in our records to the 12th or 13th century. To me, I feel they are associated with the Fae. Boom, me, Fae. I believe it's, and in some of my research, they talked about trickster spirits, and they talked about, I believe that there is so very little of the visible spectrum that we can see in this universe, that there's like a whole, you have ultraviolet and infrared, for example. We can't see those with our eyes, but we know that they exist, and they have, that's how you, whatever. I believe that the Fae live in that area where we can't see. And that's not just the Fae, but that's one explanation for them. So I definitely feel like this is kind of.
And when I say siren, that's Fae. So
it's Fae. It's a goober goblin.
So what I mean
it's a
by
goober
that,
goblin.
Yeah, is Fae. So some people are saying urban legend. Some people are saying elementals. Some people are saying aliens. It's all over. And some are saying definitely urban legend, which, hey, it's urban legend till they're knocking at your door, bro. Just saying.
I thought it was, I might kind of still have it, but I don't know. I think it's all possible. Like, I think it could be an urban legend. I think that it's possible that the phenomenon, or the goober goblins, pay attention to our media, pay attention to what we're saying, and they mimic that in order to feed on our fear, or to get us, off of our natural defenses or whatnot. For the aliens, the people that are saying that this is alien, my question about when it comes to aliens, my first question is always, do you believe that aliens are from up here, I guess, since I'm on the moon, around us, extraterrestrials, Or do you believe that aliens are intraterrestrial?
So which one
Meaning,
is it, guys? Meaning we come
meaning
from deep planet,
the deep planet, or they are able to, like the many worlds theory, where we have dimensions that are stuck on top of each other and somehow they're able to cut in through to our dimension. Like
all.
that's always my alien question for people. Are they
Alien,
coming from
both.
out there, or
We got two people saying there's both. We got two people saying both.
extraterrestrial and
Both, another one,
interdimensional?
both. Karen, enter.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
mean, if you think about how hard it would be to travel, like looking at like quantum physics and stuff, like, isn't it possible that they could be coming from out there, but they found a way to get here interdimensionally, like through one of the tubes on Super Mario Brothers?
No,
Interdimensionally. Yeah.
no, not that one. But
Not
anything else, just not that.
Dang it.
Mario. So again, the question becomes, so why do we think that this urban legend has been told? Why do we think that this was put together? And a lot of people believe that if you believe in the urban legend, it's because children doing unchildrenly things is scary. That our children used to work at very young ages. Kids used to go to work in the mines and in factories very early on. And then that changed in the 20s, I believe. And so the urban legend is scary because children are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be coming to strangers, talking to strangers, speaking in the ways that they're speaking.
Being alone at night.
Be alone at night. There you go. Being alone in a hallway, screaming bloody murder. Or trying to take control over a situation. That, I think, ultimately that's what we're experiencing. Colleen says inner and able to just come because of their technology. Other planets, Dawn says, and then Tanya says layers. So interdimensional is what I think she means by that. I think that's a great question. Like I said, for me, Children of the Corn was it, man. Like there's nothing scarier than I don't remember his name, and I don't want to remember his name. It started with a D and not demon. You didn't do it, demon.
Do you want me to? No, so my ADHD brain like just had a car accident because I was like, am I supposed to tell her like what, like I know the word she wants me to say, but does she want me to say it, or am I gonna like freak her out? And so I didn't have a chance to be like, it's a demon.
Yeah. Cherry.
Right? Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and to me, when I think about it, when I ask myself, could this be real? Is Tulpa correct? That's how you say it's Tulpa.
Tulpas, yeah.
Is where I lean. So I feel like, I'm not saying that this guy didn't experience what he experienced, but I don't know how frequently these things happen. Doing the research, if you look online, there's a lot to go through of stories and things of it happening. But again, if you want to scare the shit out of me, that would be the way to do it. Now, there is a lot of different types of fae and interdimensional beings that feed off of our fear, that they eat it, and they use it as energy. This would be the quickest way for you to scare me. The Mothman, no, I'll be like, what's up? Like Slender Man, no, been there, done that. But black-eyed children, you're gonna get me screaming. Like there's gonna be squeaks, there's gonna be a lot of running around in circles, not knowing which way to go.
Right.
Blair Witch Project, yes, that's exactly. So Dawn, so I'm there with you. That also bothered me extremely. But again, to me, that was almost like urban legend, right? So has anyone told you let them in? Oh, has anyone ever let them in?
Yes, I have one. Did you hear any?
No.
Really? Okay.
No, tell me.
Older couple. It was the middle of a snowstorm out in the middle of country, let the kids in. And it like immediately things just started getting weird. Like they were like, oh, we have to go to the bathroom. They go to the bathroom. The husband's nose just starts pouring out blood. The lights go off. The wife's freaking out. She goes to find the kids. They're just standing in the hallway, like staring at her like the twins from The Shining. And they said, don't worry, or they kept saying, where are your, like when they were letting them in, where are your parents? Don't worry, they'll be here soon. And so, and then all of a sudden they're in the hallway, the lights are off, husband's bleeding, wife's freaking out, and they go, oh, our parents are here, and they bounce and they just go outside. And so she runs up to go and try and find out what's going on. And at the end of the driveway, it's what looks like Men in Black cars letting the kids into the car. And then all of a sudden the car just disappears. There's no tracks in the snow. There's no like set car sound, like an engine starting or anything like that. And then I guess the husband ended up developing like this really bad skin cancer. And he had always worked inside. He wasn't one of those people that skin cancer would be like likely to happen to or whatnot.
Right.
And then she had some sort of health issue also. But that was like the one story that I found where they had interacted with the kids, and then this is what happened. And then another thing to note too that we kind of left out is the kids just seeming to like evaporate or whatever. Like they'll just they just disappear, like you can't find them or whatnot.
Yep.
Going back to like what Tanya said, what do the black-eyed kids want? Nobody really knows, because the one time that they came in, they did get into the house, they just left, right? And then like the people got sick, and they sort of associated that, whether that was actually like a chicken or an egg, or like did it cause it, or were they just going to have cancer anyways, who knows? But like wasn't like anything happened or nothing, you know what I mean? Like what do you do? I don't know, I almost feel like it's like a training manual, right, where they're like, hey kids, we're going to teach you how to hypnotize people and take over like regular ass humans, so like see if you can get in their house, and then you like jump up to the next level, like
you got the mushroom.
This episode is brought to you by Super Mario Brothers. Welcome to the puns and the references.
That's right. No, I mean, and again, it's it's an urban legend that's been told, continues to be told, and like I said, in the UK quite frequently, if not weekly. And it's a very big deal over there. It's incredible. I think it is popular here, but not as popular as some of our other legends. And not really, I would say, shared as much. Not that I, suggest.
I was on Reddit this morning trying to see if I could find like what's the most recent like story of the black-eyed kids, and it's almost become like a joke. Like it's almost starting to like fade back into like obscurity, where it's like, we're not talking about this anymore. Anyone that believes in this is dumb, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, so then what's the next evolution of the phenomenon going to turn into? Like, what's the next manifestation of that? I don't know. I would be really interested to hear more about the English, like the UK stories and stuff, because I think that they're still so closely related to the land and the Fae that they live alongside, that it would be interesting to see how that phenomenon has changed for them. Because I know, like, if you look at America, it's like aliens, which kind of turned into like the Men in Black, which kind of turned into the these black-eyed kids. What other like themes did we kind of go, like the satanic panic for some reason? I don't know if any of you guys are from the Midwest. If you are, message me privately. I want to talk to you. What is up with your guys' satanic panic? Every time you look around, somebody's doing a satanic ritual in the basement. There's a pentagram on the floor. And it's like, were y'all just bored? Is it because you were like repressed from the Bible Belt? Like, I have these serious questions.
We're gonna have to do a talk on this one now that you got me interested.
I need to know more about the satanic panic. Like,
sorry guys, got a phone call coming in. So Becky says one of the videos that she has seen is a security camera. Do the kids always, if one of the videos that we've seen is a security camera, do the kids walk away or disappear? Katie says hello. Katie, congratulations on the new show, buddy.
Congratulations on Devil's Perch.
That's right. Let's see here. What I've seen, there is a video out there that you can find that two children walk up. And it's a school where a security guard sees them. So the security guard goes to interact with them. They start shaking the door. They want in. you got to question, is it real? Is it reenactment? You do see a lot of reenactment videos on this, on the YouTubes, because of how popular it is in the UK. So now I want to throw a question out to you guys. This is something that Kinsey and I are going to be doing more frequently. And I would like to know, do you have some things that you wonder about that you'd like to hear about? So like you want us to take on and tear apart so that we can bring it back to you and tell you what we think of an urban legend, or some of the things that we thought about doing, whereas doing some telepathy work, doing some telepathy, being down with the whole.
You got to get somebody else for that, man. Like there's nothing you can't, there's not, it's real thick. It's nothing getting through. So I do want to ask you, so we've done all the research, we put in the man hours, we did the R&D, the boots are on the ground. What do you think? Black Eyed Kids, like, are they?
What do you think, guys?
Like, I personally don't believe any of the videos because I think it's way too easy to fake anything these days. If I don't know you personally and I trust you personally and you show me something, I'm gonna be like, that's nice. No, I'll probably be nicer to you about it, but I'll make fun of you behind your back. But
totally.
No, like I don't believe the videos, right? It's too easy. It sells too much right now. It's sexy. Everybody wants to see an alien or a Black Eyed Kid. I think that I think people have seen something, but I definitely feel like it could be fae or like urban legend. I'm kind of on the fence with this. What do you think?
So you're kind of there, because I kind of believe they're real.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of believe they're real. I don't know why. Somebody says they think it's fake, or they want to talk about a rake, but I'm guessing it's fake. There are many stories dating back to, Karen said, the 12th century, so that has to come from somewhere. Agreed. But do we know what it comes from? That's the question. My only question is, why would I dream about it? Oh, so if you have dreams about it, I would say that that's something on the subconscious level. I say they're real, but the type is questionable. Yeah, I think you're right. Now I have to know though, guys, were anything else that you guys would love us to chat about? Is something that you'd like to talk about? Do you want to talk about Bigfoot? Do you want to talk about, I don't know, Kins, what are some things that you're wanting to talk about?
Charlie and I are developing a bingo game that you can play along with your favorite paranormal show, so that whenever there's like a angry male spirit, or the veil is really thin, or you were built on an Indian burial ground, you can play bingo with your homies and figure out paranormal bingo. I don't know, man, there's a lot of things I want to talk about, and I can't think of them right now because you just asked me.
Talking directly about Skinwalker Ranch. Is the
Skinwalker Ranch is fun. I've got a ton of books on Skinwalker Ranch you could do. What else is, we talked about aliens. We talked about, you said you're not into Mothman.
No, dude, I'm down. I would love to find out more about Mothman.
What about vampires? Like how did vampires just fall off? Twilight ruined it for all of us.
Oh, I like that. We could talk about vampires. I have some stuff, Barry Fitzgerald, our friend, Mr. Baz, he has a whole thought process on vampires. Whole thought process.
Is it blood, or is it like psychic energy from your feelings? Like I feel like you could feed, like that could definitely be a thing.
Or if you have somebody that behaves like crazy, like super crazy, is behaving in ways of murdering and things like that, and the body is extracted from the ground, and the person who extracts it from the ground starts to behave in those exact same ways.
What the hell? Like that?
Yeah. Yep, Mr. Barry Fitzgerald, he got me on that one. I was like, whoa. Yes, Jack the Ripper was moved. His body was exhumed and moved, and the man who exhumed and moved him started murdering the exact same way.
Is Bigfoot, so Colleen says, is Bigfoot an alien, an animal that is able to disappear? So
we could do a whole thing on it. No, we could do, I mean, we could.
I love it, but we have to talk about swamp apes and freaking the Yeti and all of that shit, because I could totally go off on the whole swamp ape thing, because they're like, oh, this swamp ape is just living in the swamp, and it's like, if this huge 8-foot creature is smart enough to stay away from people for all of these years, you think he wants to live inside an empty tree? Where does he go? Like, he's not just living inside of an empty tree. Sorry, this is a quote from an actual argument that I got
Yeah,
into with
no,
my.
I think that's great. I actually would like to talk about Jack the Ripper and some of these stranger cases of murder in myth. And
Jack
how,
the Ripper was H.H. Holmes.
well, there you go. So there's many different thoughts out there.
Salt.
Shape-shifting, telepathic aliens, interdimensionals. Yeah, these are great. Yes. All stuff that we'd love to take on, because that's the stuff that I want to spend time on. I want to chill with my friends and talk about. So yeah, absolutely. Well, Kinsey, thanks for hanging out with me this evening and chatting away about all that is and as is with Black-Eyed Children. Now I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. You know, a like tracks like, and I'm not gonna answer my door no matter what, and I don't give a shit. And if any kid comes to sell cookies at my freaking door, I'm gonna boot him right in the forehead. So stay away.
Girl Scout cookie sales are going down after this.
Yes,
Dang it.
yes, safety first. Safety first.
It is always my pleasure to get weird and interrupt you. Like, I love that's
yeah, it's awesome. We'll
super
be doing
fun.
this. If you guys enjoyed it, give us some thumbs up or some hearts here. Yeah, and we'll be coming live to you again in another few weeks. Hopefully once I get things figured out. They may be on a Tuesday, they may be on a Wednesday, because my schedule is about to get a little crazy. So, but we will definitely continue to do this on different talks, and sometimes woo-woo, some woo-woo stuff too.
Some woo-woo.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, we have all kinds of thoughts on that too. So chatting about that, it's always fun to hang out with you. So guys, I want to thank you for hanging out with us, and I will be sharing this on my YouTube channel, also on Facebook. And if you enjoyed it, we would love it if you share it. It would be really appreciated. We'd love to grow the numbers on our Mystic Mondays, or Mystic whatever day of the week we can make this happen. So sending light and love to everybody. You guys take care, and we'll talk to you real soon.